Now at noon, another big story that we're watching right now. A Carrollton police officer has died nearly a year after he was hit by a car and badly injured. The department says Dustin Krish was surrounded by his family up until the very end.
Now, Atlanta News First, Sarah Hammond is live in Carrollton, where a memorial is beginning to shape. Sarah.
That's right. You know, today marks almost a year to the day that Officer Dustin Krish was hit by a car while directing traffic out on Highway 27. He was airlifted to the hospital, and now the police department here is setting up a memorial to honor and remember the officer. Take a look here. This is the painting that now sits in the lobby of the police department. Flowers and wreaths are being delivered as we speak right now. In the department, they have been providing updates on his condition ever since the accident. He underwent months of speech and physical therapy. 2 months after the accident, Krish's sister-in-law said he had been declared minimally conscious. Then on June 2nd, the department said Krish was in critical condition with pneumonia, and Krish has now passed away. And according to an online fundraiser, he joined the police department in 2022 and had just been married 7 months before the accident. His wife said on social media that it was, quote, an honor and my greatest blessing to love and serve Dustin. And we are expecting to hear from the police chief here in Carrollton shortly as this memorial for Officer Krish continues to grow here. Live in Carrollton, Sarah Hammond, Atlanta News First.
And although Officer Krish died from pneumonia, Georgia's move over law is designed to prevent the kind of roadside crash that first put him in the hospital. The law says if you are driving in the lane next to the shoulder and perhaps you see an emergency utility or tow truck stopped with its lights flashing, you're supposed to move over a lane. And if you can't do that safely, you are required to slow down and pass with caution.